President Obama is at the White House, and he's going to announce his nominations for federal judges. Let's listen.
Important responsibilities of a president is to nominate qualified men and women to serve as judges on the federal bench. And Congress has a responsibility as well. The Senate is tasked with providing advice and consent. They can approve a president's nominee, or they can reject a president's nominee. But they have a constitutional duty to promptly consider judicial nominees for confirmation. Now, throughout my first term as president, the Senate too often failed to do that. Time and again, Congressional Republicans cynically used Senate rules and procedures to delay and even block qualified nominees from coming to a full vote. As a result, my judicial nominees have waited 3 times longer to receive confirmation votes than those of my Republican predecessor. Let me repeat that. My nominees have taken 3 times longer to receive confirmation votes than those of my Republican predecessor. These individuals that I nominate are qualified. When they were given an up or down vote in the Senate, when they were finally given an up or down vote in the Senate, every one of them was confirmed. So this is not about principled opposition. This is about political obstruction. I recognize that neither party has a perfect track record here. Democrats weren't completely blameless when I was in the Senate. But what's happening now is unprecedented. For the good of the American people, it has to stop. Too much of the people's business is at stake. Our legal framework depends on timely confirmations of judicial nominees. And nowhere is this more apparent than with the D.C. Circuit Court of Appeals. The D.C. Circuit is known as the second highest court in the country, and there's a good reason for that. The judges on the D.C. Circuit routinely have the final say on a broad range of cases involving everything from national security to environmental policy, from questions of campaign finance to workers' rights. In other words, the court's decisions impact almost every aspect of our lives. There are 11 seats on the D.C. Circuit Court. When I first took office, there were 2 vacancies. Since then, 2 more judges have retired. That means there are 4 vacancies that needed to be filled. And by February of this year, more than 1/3 of the seats on the nation's second highest court were empty. I mean, imagine if 1/3 of the seats on the highest court, the Supreme Court, were empty. We would rightly consider that a judicial crisis. If we want to ensure a fair and functioning judiciary, our courts cannot be short-staffed. Now, in 2010, I put forward a highly qualified nominee for the D.C. Circuit, Caitlin Halligan. Caitlin's credentials were beyond question. She had bipartisan support from the legal and law enforcement community. She had the support of a majority of senators. Nobody suggested she was not qualified to serve on the court. If Caitlin had gotten a simple up or down vote before the full Senate, I am confident she would have been easily confirmed. But instead, for 2.5 years, Senate Republicans blocked her nominations. Had nothing to do with Caitlin's qualifications. It was all about politics. And after 2.5 years of languishing in limbo, this brilliant and principled lawyer asked me to withdraw her nomination. Now, the good news is, last year I put forward another highly qualified nominee, Srinivasan. And Sri's credentials were also beyond question, and no doubt due to some mounting public pressure, along with the vocal bipartisan support that he received, Sri was unanimously confirmed a few weeks ago, becoming the first South Asian American to serve as a circuit court judge in our nation's history. So I'm pleased that the Senate acted. I'm glad Republicans chose not to play politics and obstruct Sri's nomination the way they did with Caitlin's. And I'm hopeful that we can now build on that progress. because Shree's confirmation was the first to the D.C. Circuit in 7 years.